Howdy crew, today I'm very excited for today's unboxing for the welding rig. It is Klein's 3-plane laser level. Let's get to it. As I mentioned, this is Klein's 3-plane laser level. Super excited to unbox it. It is absolutely amazing tool. I've used this many times out in the field and it is invaluable. Y'all saw this not too long ago on a vlog of the shopping experience at Lowe's. Picked this up and it was $350, but very much worth it in my opinion. This tool, as I mentioned, is invaluable. It will stay in this case, as y'all will find out in just a moment. These always stay in the cases out on the job sites. I would never allow something like this to be out of its case. Look how pretty this is. Ooh-wee. Mercy. That is pretty. Look at this critter. All right, so 3-plane laser level. I'm gonna go into the other stuff in just a moment, but I'm just very excited to get this out of its container. This, as I mentioned, will stay in the container anytime during transport. And speaking of transport, one of the most important things to do with a laser level, such as this one, see this piece right here? It must remain locked when not in use. If you're storing it, transporting it, anything other than actually using it, it must be locked. There is a gyroscope in here that helps auto level these 3 lasers. And if I were just tossing around like this, it would be damaging it. And it would damage it so easily. That is why it is always required to have this locked. And I'm not even gonna demonstrate what it looks like when it's on, because I'm not gonna screw this critter up just for demonstration purposes. And so this will be switched over. Anytime that it's gonna be on, this piece will be switched over. So obviously I can't show you it being switched over once I'm actually turning it on, because it's not in a level position. But make sure that you always keep this locked, and also never have your eyes looking into any of these glass or plexiglass pieces whenever you're gonna turn it on, because the laser, it can damage your eyes. It really can. They are very bright. So don't stare into these things, but I'm gonna go demonstrate it now. I'm gonna go switch it over. And it does have a charge. All right, perfect. And if y'all can see, now that I switched over, you can see these things moving a little bit. I'm just slightly moving this, and you can see these little pieces moving. It is auto leveling. Now I'm gonna go turn on these lasers, and I'm not gonna look at them, but you can see there's a laser right here. This one will turn this one on. So there's a laser here. And then y'all won't be able to see this one, but I'll demonstrate. You can see the laser on the top one. So they're very self-explanatory. I've used this before, so I know exactly which ones are which. It makes it very easy, but they do have crossovers, and you can find your crossovers. You can find plumb, which will be right here. It's these 2 intersecting, and it'll go down. That'll be your plumb spot. So if you have a mark in the middle of a room, you're laying stuff out, you have a plumb spot, you have this on a tripod or on the ground, and you will put it there and you can lay out your other stuff. This comes in extremely handy. I'm gonna turn these off and lock it. It comes in very extremely handy when you're trying to lay out steel plates or anything that you're gonna weld, and that way everything can be online, or you mark it and then put things online. But if you're just having this at a distance from your welding, you can have this for a good while, especially if you're working at a dark location, whether it be inside or in the middle of the night. This laser goes on forever. You can still see it during the day, but I'd recommend marking those spots at that point. And I do have it locked, so I can turn it now. But I just want to go over what all this looks like. It looks great. And it does have the battery, but also it has this point that you can charge it. So this will be charged in the truck as I'm going down the road. And I will pull out the other stuff that came with. Came with a little user manual. Always read these before you ever use one of these pieces of equipment. Otherwise you can damage it very easily without even knowing it. This right here is the piece that you can mount onto the wall, and you can turn your laser. So this will screw onto this piece, and you can actually use the bottom to screw it, and you can turn it any which direction you desire. And then there's magnets on here, so you can put on some steel studs. You can hear that's a good magnet on there. It also has these holes, and you'll notice that the shape of them, you can put screws or nails in here, and you can hang it. And then you adjust it however much you need to get it level. And speaking of level, I will demonstrate this next part. Go ahead and switch it over. There we go. And I'm going to turn on all the lasers, so you can see the lasers are on. Now, this is level, but when you get it out of level, they will start blinking. So I'm going to slightly tilt it. It's out of level. Y'all can see it's blinking now. When I put it back down and it's level, y'all can see that the planes are solid. Each laser is solid, and it doesn't matter which way it's out of level, they will all start blinking. And then once you get it back level, it will turn solid again. So I wanted to mention that because that's very handy, extremely handy. And last but not least, in the little case is a little charging cable, USB, which is perfect. That can go in the truck and just be charged while I'm going down the road. Now, this tool is $350, but what it can do, some folks may think that it just lines some things up and it's not as important as what it's made out to be. This is extremely important. You can lay things out for a good distance, and you don't have to bring out chalk lines, you don't have to have other levels, leveling out other things. You just set this here, you get it lined up with what you need, and you can go on for a good while and just lay out plates, lay out your angle irons if you're putting in anchors and stuff, if you're putting in just so many different things. I've used this on all kinds of different job sites, and it is invaluable. So it does have the point where you can put either this on, or they have a tripod. And I'm thinking about getting the tripod somewhat soon. I'm just not getting it yet because the truck's not put together, as you all know. But once the truck's put together, I will most likely get a tripod for this. That way it can be adjusted. I believe the Klein one does this. I know some of the other ones do, where you can adjust legs to get it level if you're on an uneven surface, such as many job sites, especially if you're out in the dirt and mud. Or you can prop rocks under there. I've done with ones that they don't adjust legs, start propping rocks underneath the different legs, and just crossing fingers that nothing falls over, but just don't do that. Make sure it doesn't fall over. And then you can have all your stuff laid out and everything's fine and dandy. And I really like the case that it comes in. It's really nice and snug. I've used the Klein ones before, and they fit in here great. Let's put that piece right back in there. And it just closes up, and it's a nice sturdy case. It's not one of the cheapo plastic ones. Obviously there are heavier duty ones, but when you're dealing with something like this, you don't want to be just throwing it around. This is a very delicate, very expensive tool. This is not something that is meant to be just thrown around. This isn't a spud wrench. This isn't just some hand tool that can be thrown around and just grabbed out of the mud and dirt, especially if you have it switched over. So do not ever have it switched over unless you're actually going to be using it. I prefer just having it set in position and then switching it over to where it's already in a level position. Otherwise, I will not have that switched over. And I will bring this over so y'all can see a little bit more of the lines on the cardboard that it came packaged in. And y'all can see the lines going around. You see it down below. That is plumb right there. So then you don't have to use a plumb bob. And it's just, again, invaluable. It's very expensive for such a small little thing, but it is worth its weight in gold. And I can't stress that enough. That's why no matter who I worked for, I took care of these things. I know some guys, they don't care. If it's not theirs, they'll just throw it around. And that's highly unfortunate. And don't do that. It doesn't matter if it's yours or if it's a company's. These things are very expensive, and nobody just wants to go through these left and right. It's $350. Some of them are even more expensive. Some of them, you can get the ones that it's a 360 when it almost looks like some of the area lights that go up to the ceiling, and they're just rotating constantly. And those can get to several thousand very quickly. and some guys just kick them around and whatnots, and that's not right. Just treat it as if it's your own, as if you spent several $1,000s on it, because these things, they can really make your life easier on a job site. And you screw up some of the other ones, your employer doesn't want to buy a new one, you have a lot more work on your hands, and it's not going to be fun either. So take care of these things. I've always liked the Klein ones. I know Bosch makes another good one, but I like Klein more. The green is easier to see than the red ones, in my opinion. I've heard the same from many other folks, and if you all know how light refracts, but also what is easier to see at nighttime, that's why you use red lights to read your maps out in the middle of nowhere, because it's easy to see right in front of you, but at distance, it's harder for anyone else to see, whereas if you use a green light or blue light, that can be spotted miles away. So that is why I prefer the green laser levels than the red laser levels. Just personal preference from experience doing other things as well. So anywho's, that is the Klein 3-plane laser level. It is an absolute beast in its field. I really like using these. I will give more of an update and review in the field, but these things are amazing. I think Klein makes amazing tools. Their spud wrenches, their nose bag, all of it's great, and their laser levels on top. These are the best, in my opinion, that I have ever used, and I've heard the same from basically everyone that I know that's used these. So top of its line, $350, absolutely amazing, makes life so much easier out on the job site. Can't wait to use it out in the field for the welding rig. I've used it many times on other job sites, obviously before the welding rig, but I can't wait to use this in conjunction with the welding rig. It make life so much easier on different job sites. So hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability, and y'all will see this in the field hopefully very soon. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next vlog.